Hey, everybody. Welcome to Don't Make Me Come Back There. We are a funny podcast about family. My name is Dustin Nickerson. I'm a stand-up comedian, the host of the aforementioned podcast. And alongside me, above Public Square Coffee in downtown La Mesa, is my lovely wife, my co-host, my overall best gal.
Hey there.
Is Melissa Nickerson, who already finished her drink, her Gibraltar.
Yep.
But she'll cheers to us, Melissa Nickerson, and our amazing producer Andy is here as well.
We're back.
We're back, everybody. If we're speaking differently with pronounced Norwegian accents or Dutch accents or English accents or none of the above, because my accents are so bad that they feel insulting. It's because we've been gone for so long. I was gone for 2 weeks.
Telling Andy it's been 3 weekends.
Since we, it's been. Has it been that long since we've been in this space?
Yeah, because Easter weekend and then the following 2.
And we've been gone for a while because we are tired. We are jet lagged. We fought this morning because I made my oatmeal sooner than Melissa would have liked me to make my oatmeal.
It wasn't that simple. That's some narrative crafting.
Well, I mean, that's marital spats in general, right? They're never about the oatmeal. They're never about what it looks like it is on the outside. It was about you feeling like you do everything, or you had done a bunch that morning and you'd asked me to do one thing and I did do that thing, but I didn't do it in the order and the timing of which you wanted it done or would have preferred to see it done. And so Michael Jordan meme, you took that personally. Sure. And also I made that oatmeal knowing it might upset you, though. I did know, but I was trying to navigate the whole morning because I was like, I have to get Claire to school, and as soon as I get back, I have to get ready and we go into the studio.
I know. I never have time to make oatmeal on Tuesdays.
And I did sleep in later, but also you have been back in the States longer, or you got back home sooner than I did, and have been getting more sleep than me the last 2 nights.
Well, purposefully.
Yeah.
Because I've been going to bed earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
And last night, I stayed up a little later to watch an NHL playoff game, go Kraken, but also I couldn't have slept it either way, anyways, because of a big long nap I had to take earlier that day. So all that to say, you guys, it's never about the oatmeal. It's never about the oatmeal.
And with international travel, it's like, you're like, I'll just like close my eyes for a minute. And then you're like, well, now you're screwed again. And I understand because you had to perform Sunday night.
We'll talk all about that at length and cover this trip. We are here to talk about our European travels.
That's right.
And it's going to be fun. And we're also going to do a Bingo DIngo review of Super Mario. Yes. Super Mario Brothers movie. Next week, we're going to do a big full review of a trip to Universal that we did before that. There's a lot going on. Before we get into that, though, a couple items of business. The Halfway There tour rolls out next month, May.
Yes, it does.
It's almost here. The kids are almost out of school. Ugh. I hate summer break, but we will discuss that at an episode down the road. We are kicking off May 19th and 20th in Salt Lake City, then May 24th, Brea, May 26th and 27th, Des Moines, Iowa. And then we get into June, the 13th and 14th and 15th in Chicago, 16th and 17th in San Diego, the 18th in LA. That's Father's Day, Father's Night. That's very brilliant branding we came up with there. Orlando, the 21st, Tampa, the 22nd, the 24th and 25th is Boston, the 28th is Charlotte, the 29th is Raleigh. July, the 1st, North Charleston, 6th through 9th, Tacoma. The 12th, Cincinnati, the 13th, Columbus, the 14th through 16th, Pittsburgh, the 21st through 22nd, Nashville, the 28th, Atlanta. August, the 2nd, San Jose, the 11th through 12th, Sacramento, the 23rd, Omaha, the 24th, Milwaukee, the 25th, Minneapolis, the 26th, Tulsa, 27th, Dallas, 31st, San Antonio, September, 1st and 2nd, Houston, 3rd, Oklahoma City, 4th, Austin, 27th through 29th of October is Phoenix, and the 7th through 9th of December is Cleveland. On sale soon. Additionally, we're going to be in Indianapolis over next New Year's. A Fresno. I threw a Fresno in there. Why not, huh?
Okay.
Just throwing a Fresno in there for some reason. That's going to happen in August as well. There's more coming. We're going to look to the socials to answer some of your questions. If I am not coming to your city, I might still. This tour is going to run through this time next spring, the Halfway There tour.
Okay.
Have we discussed that with you yet?
No.
Yeah, it's going forever, guys. Here's the thing with comedians. We're never not touring. So go to DustinNickerson.com/tour to get the tickets to that. Also, Melissa, we had a little Patreon Zoom hang last night. You want to tell people
we did.
all about what Patreon is?
So Patreon is just a way to give a little more and get a little more of all things Dustin Nickerson comedy. We're talking merch discounts, VIP meet and greets at all these shows, in the green room sometimes. Let's see what else. We've got a monthly
in the green
Zoom
room sometimes.
Oh my gosh, it's a green room. We've got monthly Zoom hangs with our patrons. We do cameos. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, and then if there's news, updates, you're the first to know. You get some videos, early access kind of stuff.
You get to speak into the content a little bit, too. Yesterday, we were talking with the Zoom hangs. They're like, hey, what do you guys think about guests? What do you guys think about that, huh? We want to hear your thoughts. And it was a people got their candid feedback. I said I felt like I was running like a town hall and like a Parks and Rep episode.
Yeah.
People are like, I love guests. I hate guests. And you're like, cool.
We're going to split the difference here.
We will do guests sometime. So, check out Patreon. Check out upcoming tickets. Also, if you are a backseater and you haven't watched my special, it's like, who even are you? I mean... we thought we were close. We thought you let us into your car, your home, your gym, your hearts, all those things, and you didn't support us in this way. You break my heart. But if you have watched it, thank you. And if you have watched it or you haven't watched it, when you do, if you could just take the time to leave a comment and like it on the old YouTube, that really helps out because there's a robot in San Jose.
They like comments.
Yeah, and it wants comments. It wants you to hit a little thumb icon right there and then leave a comment, positive or negative, let's be honest. And then it would really love if you took that link and then you just sent it somewhere. If you sent it on where you texted a friend, that helps. You shared
group chat, family group chat.
Oh, the GC. Throw it in the group chat. Throw it on your socials. Post it on your MySpace. Posted on
Discord.
Yeah, your Discord. Yeah, Twitch would be good. If you have a newsletter, if you sell homes in Temecula, and you have a newsletter, an email list with your face, and be like, hey, in here, they might not be like, real estate because
the market's going up, and
you're a life coach.
Yeah,
and you got
aren't you glad that you can own a home? Unlike this comedian, who now that I think about it, I do make fun of real estate agents in that special. But if you could like and share and post and comment, all those things really, really help. So thanks. All right, let's dive into the Nickersons Do Europe.
That's right.
The overview of this trip. So Taylor Tomlinson, international superstar, invited me to go open for her on those dates. I said yes. Well, actually, at first I said, how long? Because it was the longest I had ever been, and the last time I was gone from that family that long, I had a full-blown panic attack, and so my follow-up question was, can Mel come? And she said, for part of it, and I said, great, because Mel can't come for 2 weeks anyways. That's unreasonable. So on a Monday, a few weeks ago, I take off from Los Angeles to Oslo, Norway. I have a show on Wednesday. So we spend all day kind of Monday and Tuesday getting there, reset. We are in Oslo on Wednesday. The next day we go to the Netherlands, Amsterdam. The next day we go to Brussels and Belgium. The next day we go to London. We're in London for 2 nights, show. The next day, or you get there on the Sunday.
Second show
you
day.
Get there the second show Sunday. We have we have 2 shows that night. And the next day, we go to Dublin. Day off in Dublin, night off in Dublin. Then on that Monday, show in Dublin Tuesday, show in Dublin Wednesday, fly back to London on Thursday. That's the night off. Show on Friday, fly home on Saturday. Now, I do believe that I'm the first comedian in history who went from London, a show in London, on a Friday night to my next show being in Oklahoma. I think
on Sunday night.
On Sunday night.
Yeah.
It was we flew from London on Saturday and landed at LAX at 7 p.m. So we landed in hell. LAX is an absolute hellscape of an airport. And we land, we take a shuttle to
an airport hotel.
An airport hotel
Yep.
where we go have a cheers and say this is our last drink for a while. Time to dry up a little bit.
We had some chicken soup.
We had some chicken soup at the hotel.
Yep.
Cheers. We got up at 5 a.m. the next day. But we got about 7-8 hours of sleep. Got up at 5 a.m. You took me back to LAX.
Yep.
You drove home. I flew to Oklahoma, napped, got up, did a gig. As I was getting on stage, it was a private event. It was like a volunteer appreciation thing. And as I was on stage, I was like, wait, this is early. Is there a chance? And sure enough, I do the gig. I drive back to the hotel, grab the stuff. I drive to the airport.
Yeah, all you have is a backpack.
It was too late. I saw there was a chance for a flight. It was too late to buy a ticket online. And I go to the desk. I was like, can I buy a ticket to go to Dallas, which will take me home? And he's like, oh, it's too late. And I was like, I don't feel like it is because I'm here and there's seats on that plane. And I was like, I feel like if you were Mr. American Airlines, they would want you to sell me this ticket. I just feel that in my heart because there's no way this is full.
It's just going to be empty.
And I'm here and I'm offering you money in exchange for a seat. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And I go, is it that you are unable to do it? Like the system won't allow you to do it? Or is it a policy that you can't break? And he's like, I'm sorry, sir, I can't sell you this ticket. And I was like, okay, I guess, because it was like 45 minutes before the flight took off. And I was like, well, that's it. But Oklahoma City is a very small airport, so I'd have made it in no time. And so I just walk over and just kind of sullen, just like sitting there. I haven't told you this, like on my phone, like, And then he goes, wait a minute, sir, do you have a bag that you're checking? And I'm like, look at me. And he goes, oh, if you don't have a bag, I think I can sell you a ticket. And I was like, how did you not ask that before? How did you not do this? This is just... And then so he sold me the ticket. And they go, and then the guy goes, you don't have to run, but don't stop to catch the flight. And so I got there and we end up. So I woke up on a Sunday morning in LAX, having flown from Heathrow the day before.
Yes.
Slept in my bed in San Diego that night, but in between those things, did a gig in Oklahoma City, and it was like this a volunteer appreciation event. So they actually had like a Universal Studios theme. So like people were dressed up as like Mario and Luigi, and there was like a DeLorean there, and like the Scooby-Doo van was there, and I was so tired, and I was like, is this a dream? I'm telling jokes in Oklahoma to Luigi and Mario and Donkey and this. None of this feels real. So. And then Melissa had the audacity to yell at me for making my oatmeal too early 2 days later.
Yeah.
That's the kind of love and support that I get in this family. And I will tell you, it was an absolute like whirlwind trip. And it was a total and we'll dive into the details of everything that we did. But after you're gone for a trip that long and you get home and you have that moment when you see your kids and then they lock themselves in the bathroom and tell you they hate you and refuse to go to school. You go, oh, that's why I leave. That's why I do it.
We were really glad you made it home by Monday morning.
I kid you not. I got home at 1 a.m. My 13-year-old yelled at me at 1 a.m. I had not seen her in 2 weeks, and Claire had woken up, and she was like, can you lay me down, Dad? And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, whatever. At this point, I don't sleep anymore anyways. So I go and I lay with her for a while to get her down, and then
Well, Gloria had a volleyball tournament,
right.
So she had gotten up at 5. Her and I were texting Sunday morning at 5.
Yeah.
And she had done her tournament, so she kind of fell asleep at 8.
Yeah.
But had her phone, wasn't like didn't brush her teeth, just like laid down.
So I wake up, I lay Claire down and I go, what you're saying here. So I go then to go to bed. It's 1 a.m. on a school night, and I see the glow of her phone. I'm like, you're on your phone right now? And she's like, I can't do anything. It's all turned off anyways. I was like, and then I hadn't seen her in 2 weeks, and we fought at 1 a.m. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do this right now, sweetie. I cannot go up with you. I can't.
I know. And the only reason that Claire, I didn't go with Claire in the middle of the night is like, I have to get up at 6:45 to get everyone out the door. The first 2 kids out the door. And I knew that you would nap on Monday.
Yeah.
But so we're all off.
We're all off.
You're taking naps. I'm going to bed at 9.
Yeah. It doesn't feel, I mean, I know I'm like new to international jet lag, but it does feel a lot like just when your toddler ignored daylight savings. You know, it doesn't
just
feel
like a general lethargicness. Yeah. But you are off. Like I took the teens to bubble tea. No.
I felt very personal. You're off, Dustin.
I'm giving you an example. I took the teens to bubble tea on Sunday, and I started to drive home, and then I just drove to the school. You know, and they were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, autopilot. Like I'm just surviving.
Yeah.
You know, so we're just off.
I feel like, and we're going to dive into a second here. We're going to do some recaps, some highlights, some lowlights, all those kind of things, some tips for, you know, European family travel. And not family travel, European couple travel. One of the big advantages to European travel, though, is if it is nice, like when people that don't have kids do it and they feel that jet lag, it does feel a little bit like, that's how we feel. That's how a parent just kind of feels on any given, especially young kids. You're just kind of like that, out of it, tired of, you know, because
the teens like also require a lot of you late at night.
Yes.
So there's a balance, but yes, especially when you have like 2 teens and 1 little one.
Right.
Like that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So there's, of course, the baby toddler preschool years.
Yeah.
But now you kind of start. The pendulum swings back in your face. Yeah,
you're right. And re-entry after a big trip as a parents is so bizarre, because we were at like school pickup today and someone was like, how was London? And I'm like, I'm different now. I experienced something you don't understand. Don't ask me like this was just some casual weekend that we went to Palm Springs. I'm different now. I'm Frodo after the ring has been destroyed.
I've been changed.
I can't go back to the Shire. I'm out with the elves now. I'm different.
Too much.
I have a different perspective on the world now.
How could I summarize that in one sentence?
Yeah. How was your trip? I don't know. What is the world like? What do
you... So anyways, it was great.
It was a great trip. Let's dive into some highlights and lowlights. Okay. One of the questions that I got, somebody asked about how the patrons asked how the shows themselves were. Incredible. They were great. I didn't just show up into some random comedy club in Dublin. I was there opening for an American comedian, and everyone knew this was going to be an American comedy show. These were going to be, I guess they didn't know who the opener was going to be, but they were prepared to see Taylor Tomlinson. And so
they know her from her Netflix specials.
Right. And so, but you do go into specifically Norway and Brussels. Everyone in Belgium was like, hey, they kind of like, the promoters were like, hey, just be ready. Like, these aren't like comedy, like, because stand-up comedy, Americans haven't made a lot as far as like unique art forms. Jazz and stand-up are about it. Like, you know, in reality TV.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they are kind of the same thing. They are like, we do our own thing, and it's cool, kind of. But not everybody loves it.
Reality TV, yeah.
Yeah, jazz,
after
comedy,
the drug addict issue of it. But
yeah, that's true. But yeah, jazz, comedy, and reality TV are Americans' artistic exports. That's what we've made. And so there are countries, there's not a lot of countries that have produced stand-up comedians. It's the U.S., it's certainly England. Canada's the funniest country on earth per capita. Australia, New Zealand. There are, and then
there are locals.
Yeah, and then everything else is there's like a scene, but not like massively huge comedians necessarily that you know of, and that come specifically from that country, like in that scene, developing in that scene. And so in Norway and Brussels, everyone was like, hey, just these aren't going to be great. They're going to kind of like laugh and then clap. Like they're going to treat it like a night at the theater. Like, we've heard the joke that you've presented, and now we acknowledge it through a little laugh and then a clap. And there's a less like Belgium has like 3 national languages and they're not English. So they're like so there's also going to be the humor is so subtle in language, right? And so different that it takes a second to process it. And they were saying all this unbelievable shows. They were both so good. They were they were so great. Amsterdam was the one where we did feel that, and it was surprising because Amsterdam's a gigantic city. It's a world city. The shows were bigger shows, if I remember. And we were really kind of like, all right, Amsterdam.
You guys loved being in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam's fantastic, and we were really looking forward to it. But Amsterdam had a bit of a Vegas problem, and that nobody was from there. Like, there were some folks there from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, but people made a trip in because I was asking, and same thing happened in London. I was asking people where they were from, and there was a lot of people from Germany. There's a lot of people from Spain. There are a lot of people who had come in from these other places, and that can make it hard for a comedy crowd where, like, you guys have nothing in common other than the fact that you're here right now. This is all that you guys have in common. So Amsterdam was fun. The other 2 were great. And then London and Ireland were fantastic. They were great. So, and by the end, I had like 5-6 minutes on just, I was telling that to Tay. I was like, I feel like I was really settled in at 5-6 minutes. And that's when she's like, oh, you mean when you started telling jokes you didn't write this week? Yeah, Dustin.
All those, you had a lot of custom jokes about Europe.
You feel like you kind of have to a little bit, especially as the opener of the show.
No, they were great. I mean, because you would use like the venue staff and then the tour manager, your conversations with them were peppered in the jokes.
My favorite story, and I did tell this on the stage, my very favorite interaction, Darren, the promoter in London, he was an Irish guy, and he came after my set, and we were talking for a while, and he was like, "You're going to Dublin tomorrow?" And I go, "Yeah." And I go, "I'm really excited. I've never been to Ireland. It's supposed to be beautiful." And I go, a lot of my favorite artists are Irish. And he goes, "Really?" I go, "Like Damien Rice." I go, I've loved Damien Rice music forever. And he goes, he just watched my set, and he goes, "You're a critical thinker, and you love being sad." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're going to love Ireland." And he was right. Ireland has like a melancholy, almost just sadness in the air. It was something.
The weather, it's the island.
I felt like Seattle a lot. Yeah. Norway looked so much like Ballard. Like in Seattle, you're like, oh, okay.
This is a neighborhood in Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Seattle it's obviously similar topography and weather and stuff like that. And I'm saying this wrong. Ballard looks like Norway. Ballard looks like Scandinavia. Absolutely. Didn't you say you took your grandma in Ballard to like a... Well, for those who know, Ballard is an area in Seattle. It tried to make itself its own neighborhood.
Fishing community. It was a fishing community.
It still is. They got a lot of the boats there.
They've got the locks. But they have a Nordic Heritage Museum there. And I think when we got married, my parents took my grandmother to that Nordic Heritage Museum.
Yeah. I will say, walking around Norway, I was like, I look like I live here. We all kind of look like this. You're around the same height as me. You seem more at peace than me. but we look pretty similar here. So
yeah.
Anyways, let's dive into some. So Mel was there for London and Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
Highlights, lowlights, tips. Just shotgun it, Mel. What's kind of your overview?
Ooh.
We did our probably. Okay. We had one night off, and we decided to go to a show, and we went and saw Moulin Rouge. And if you are one of our more conservative Christian listeners, I'm sorry, don't Google it. It's not that bad, but we went and saw Moulin Rouge, and on the West End there, we're like, hey, because we were staying in Soho, and it was like right by. It's like Fifth Avenue in New York. Like you're like, oh my gosh, and their Broadway was right there. So we went and saw a show. Now, obviously, it was going to be a sentimental piece for us because Moulin Rouge came out when we were like in the pinnacle of falling in love together.
We're like 16, 17.
I think it might have been, we would literally sing the songs to each other.
Early 2000s, you had the CD in your car.
Yeah, we listened to them on CDs in my S10. And it was there was no lack of sentimental attachment to the show.
Yeah, and then we kind of had forgotten about the actual like script and stuff, so it hit again 20 years later.
Yeah, if you want to go like have just an absolute cry fest, go to a foreign country, see a show that has a sentimental attachment to you in some way whatsoever. A family member, a loved one, your spouse, your partner.
Formative years.
And then just go. And then maybe have it kind of loosely tie into what you do, which is be a writer who falls in love with a girl that you got no business being with, and then charms her a bit. Now, I'm not a Ewan McGregor, but, I'm funny sometimes. So it just, I felt like I was like a melted candle leaving it. I was like, I can't move. I'm just kind of swishing in existence here, It
was amazing. And I think because it was our first night off, No, we had the night off in Dublin. It was just really special. Yeah.
It was. And also the night off in Dublin was special because we went out with Tay and Bryn, her sister was out, and then Big Ben, our German tour manager, who would get so mad when we were late by 1 minute. Very regimented, so on brand for a German. It was hysterical. And there was at one point we were all running 1 minute late to lobby call, and he sent on the group text. It was the funniest. It was so subtle and so good. He just said good morning, and then sent the clock emoji. Which is
and we're like running through the lobby with all our bags.
Yeah. It was great. He was on top of it. So we all go out. We go to a pub and we grab some food, and we're like, we'll get traditional Irish fare, and you're like, it's salty. Bangers and mash. All right, it's all so salty.
Meaty and salty.
And it was nice. And like we had, we got the Guinness thing, and then we went to O'Donoghue's, was right down the road from where we were staying, and we stayed for a while, and then Tay was pretty tired. Tay had to do so much more work than all of us, so they were tired, and we were like, should we go back to the room? And you're like, let's do the pub thing. Let's do the Dublin pub thing where we just stay here and have some drinks. And fast forward a few hours later, and we're meeting strangers and having conversations and talking to local. We had some some tales that you can't tell on this podcast, but it was so, it was fantastic. That was an absolute highlight. If you can go sit in a Dublin pub and just grab a drink.
Talk to some people.
And you know what they say about Guinness tasting different in Ireland? It's true. It's still gross, but it does. It does taste different. Is it better? No. Is it different?
Not to us.
Yes. If you love it, that's totally fine. But I feel like there's always going to be something hidden in that beer.
Thick.
It feels like there's a fish in there that are swimming in the darkness. You know what I feel like in a Guinness? I feel like they're going to have those angler fish at the bottom of the sea.
It's a bottom of the sea beer.
It's a
so thick and dark.
It's so thick and so dark, and I don't like it. I take a drink, and I'm like, am I supposed to chew?
Yeah. It's like syrupy. I don't know. People love it. Love it.
Yeah. It tastes like you took like Coke syrup and mixed it with dirt and salt water.
Yeah.
And said, here you go. And people go, this is the best beer on earth. People don't say that they like it. They say this is the best beer on earth. And it is, I go, no, it tastes like the earth. It is not a tasty beer. I think people.
This is us. It's our problem.
I don't know. I think some people.
It's like a whole.
Well, it's not a problem. I just think that some people like that beer because they like what it says about them if that's their favorite beer.
Yeah.
Guinness was like, if you got into beer and you loved Guinness, you seemed a bit high pinky in your beer taste. And then the craft beer scene came.
Yeah.
And changed all of that.
That is true. Yeah. It's kind
I like that.
Yeah, it's a bit of an artsy beer. And you're like, but it's not good.
The second pub we went to, O'Donoghue's had an on tap like pale that they made.
Yeah, and you loved that.
And that was great.
Yeah, I'm surprised you remember drinking that.
I still cheated, like with the Guinness. I was like, I can't.
It's, also, O'Donoghue's, I will always remember the name of because we were small talking with an older lady at the bar, and she was like 75, and she was like, I go, what did you do for work? And she was like, oh, I was a television producer. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, I produced the show Donahue. And I'm like, really? I was like, really? She's like, you remember it? I was like, yeah, I remember Donahue. It was like the other show. There was Oprah and there was Donahue. It's like, so you are here in O'Donoghue's in Dublin.
That's amazing.
It was so good.
Yeah.
So amazing.
It was just,
It was really nice. Yeah.
And then we talked to a nice couple. I'm sorry, they weren't a couple.
They were not a couple.
But man, did he want to be a couple. It was so funny and sad. And poor Ben, poor sweet, sweet Ben, not our tour manager. There was a different Ben. We started talking and...
He was an Irishman.
Yeah.
And just nice.
Yeah. And I think she was Portuguese.
I think she was Czech.
Czech, that's right. She was Czech. That's so different. I met a lot of people from a lot of different countries while we were there. She was Czech, and she was like, "We're just friends. We do everything but sleep together." And you're like, "Wow, we just met." And she's like, "He's always been there for me, and we're just such happy as friends." And I just looked in his eyes, and I just saw him be so sad.
We were all smiling, like, "That's awesome."
Yeah, it's one of the you. It felt like you're like, "Hey." Are you friends with this girl? And he'd be like, yes, she's my best friend.
Flatmates.
And I'd be like, if she ever expressed romantic interest, would you? Would be like, yes, 1,000%. Yes, I've been in love with this woman for 5 years. But she was. It was a funny conversation, the whole situation. But we started talking about. I would say most nights I got into a conversation with people about what happens when you die. That happened a lot in Dublin. And our friend, the Donahue producer, started sharing, and she's like 74. And then the Czech girl, who was like pretty, so assumed she was interesting. And she assumed she was interesting. And she started talking, and I go, that's great. I would love to hear from the Donahue producer. And she laughed. She's like, yeah, I'm a lot closer to death than you, sweetheart. And I was like, we're doing it. We're really having a nice little Dublin experience here. So that was one, that was one of the highlights. Performing in the venues was incredible. Vicar Street, where we're rocking the show here, was great. That was probably my favorite venue we did. It's a music venue.
Music and
yeah.
The balcony had a standing portion.
Yeah.
They had like 3 or 5 rows of seats, and then people were standing, and like, so it really felt very intimate, and the applause.
It felt like
crazy.
a rock club.
Yeah.
And because it's pretty rare that you can perform in a venue that is like a couple thousand people, and they're at a table with like 4 seats attached, like a
a Burger King table, like a little circle, and then 4 circles.
And it was but they had brought them in for that, and it was obviously, it was crazy when you go and like you looked at, because it was like a smaller venue, or it was like a big venue but in like a smaller market, because it's hard to tour internationally. They'd be like Kanye did like the graduation tour there. You're like, oh, I guess that makes sense, because it was like when Timberlake did his like solo tour, it was there. You're like, oh, you caught people like right before they broke. You know, we've done a couple venues like that before when you'll go in and you'll see like old pictures of MCR or Foo Fighters or something like that. Like, and it's like a 3,000 seater and you're like, oh, Everlong had just come out, you know, and they were about to like pop, you know, you're like, how many shows did they add here?
And then they were at arenas or whatever. Yeah.
One of your favorite things though that you said is that was your highlights were people talking, connecting with the humans out there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All the venue staff was like super nice, and it was just fun to kind of chat with like what they did and their takes on stuff.
Yeah.
Like Reese was like, this area, Soho in London is nothing like London.
Yeah.
And like, and he said the same thing about Dublin.
Reese was,
like when you're just like on
Reese
the main
was a venue
street
worker in London.
City. Yeah.
That being said, he then did show us a pretty good time, and so it was there was no lack of things to do there. It would be like in San Diego and going to like the Gaslamp District.
Yeah, you're like, so this is what San Diego's like, and you're like, no, this is touristy. And, it's where the theaters are, you know.
But it's a good time.
Yeah, it was great.
You highly recommend doing shared meal experiences, right?
Yeah, I didn't really know how much I enjoyed this, but specifically Taylor's sister Bryn we're kind of the same in that we're like, we'll be eating the coleslaw and be like, is that cumin in that? You know, like.
Well, Taylor and I are similar.
I'm getting a note of lemon. Like,
Taylor and I are similar in that we like to have the same experience as the people with us. I hate going to a meal and being like, do you like yours? Mine's fine. I'm like, let's taste all these things together.
So one of the awesome things about like traveling the way we did is that we did like a high tea, but then we all like, we ate the same things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, lemon tart next. And so it was really fun to just talk about it. And then when we flew from Dublin to London and London to Dublin, we were in business class. And so we just got like these like chickpea salads and stuff. But it was just really fun to like eat with a group of four.
Yeah.
And, like,
experience it together.
If Bryn got like some random, you know, Reese's candy in downtown Dublin, we all had a bite.
Yeah.
You know, like that was, and so I really enjoy that. Because it's like so much more fun to enjoy things as a group than just to be like, my meal rocks.
Well, and that's not anything we have ever done, which is like we've vacationed by ourselves, we've vacationed with our kids. We've never done it with like, here's just like a couple of friends.
Adults. Yeah. So it was just very fun to share all of that. And then I am the only one that can have cheese and dairy in the group.
And you really kept rubbing that in our face.
Well, I ate a lot of vegan stuff too. And that was so easy to do in London, specifically Dublin.
London is the world city. Whatever you want is in London.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah,
you know?
like actually that was pretty funny. We ended up having Thai food 2 nights in Dublin, which is hilarious. But
that's true. I mean, Dublin's big too. But
yeah.
They're cities.
On the last day, I was like, sorry, everyone. I got like a cheese plate.
really just taunting in our face. Yeah.
I was just like, I'm going to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, you guys can't enjoy this, but it was delicious.
I think one of my favorite things was, it was an adventure food wise every time. Mm-hmm. And I mean that in good and bad ways. And that you were just like, oh man, this is going to be delicious or this is going to make me constipated.
Well, that's just part of traveling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The first year that I discovered I was lactose intolerant for a period, I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
Was my first tour in Europe. And all of our riders, cheese meat bread. And we're poor, you know, so it's not like I had a lot of money to eat anywhere else. So
that was your dinner.
My stomach was a wreck for that entire tour.
I love it.
I dreaded dinner every night.
I have to eat again. That's kind of how I felt about sleep each time, where I was like, this is not going to go well. And so I wasn't looking forward to going to bed at night because I'm because the first 2 nights I just woke up at 5 and was just up.
5 a.m.
Yeah. When the sun started coming up and I was just.
I know. was an adventure
For
sure. And it's hard to complain about, but it's still hard.
I think that's fair. I think, listen,
like the slugging of the bags and we had a tour manager, but you still were like, okay, did we get here in time? And
Melissa, you landed in Europe, in England, and then traveled to a different country the next day.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I stayed up.
Yeah, this was not
Reese got me a McCafe.
Yeah, Reese was like, we really connected with Reese, and he was like, "Yeah, do you want a coffee?" And you're like, "Oh gosh, a late night coffee would be great," because you did push through that first night.
Yeah,
which I was so glad that you did.
I was so glad I did too, because if I would have been off.
Yeah. Well, plus it's
if
just
I napped.
You were also mom out.
Yep.
And that you're like, I'm in London. I'm staying up.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm not gonna, because it wasn't a vacation. It was a hybrid. It was both, because so we described 2 nights off. Both of those nights we traveled to a different country.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, one of my other highlights was just walking around Dublin.
Yeah.
During the day and after the shows.
Yeah.
One night we just walked all the way down to the Trinity College, and it's fairly safe,
Yeah.
And
we went and asked the concierge. I was like, "Hey, we were thinking about going for a walk. Is it safe?" And he laughed at us. He scoffed. He's like, "I think you'll be fine."
Well, they always told us everything was closed though. They kept saying, because it was Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, we kept finding places though.
But it was just fun to be out and kind of see the sights. And
also good to go for a walk because your stomach. Your stomach is just like, hey, can we just go settle?
And if you're tired, you're like, I could just eat again. So then you're just eating and not walking enough and not sleeping.
Yeah. You should do, as we kind of talk about tips and stuff, listen, go see the touristy things while you're there. Go see the sights.
We didn't do them all.
Go see some of the things. Stuff. Go see Big Ben, we saw the London Tower, we saw, go see, obviously Parliament's right there and Buckingham Palace. Go see the things, because it's nice, because then you see them in the movie, in the show, and you're like, oh, yeah, I've been there. My favorite stuff was just connecting, and I know this is different because you're a performer there, but connecting with the artists and the performers that you love there. I mean, if you were to name the 10 artists that have impacted me the most, we're going to go Oscar Wilde as an author, and Damien Rice, both Irishmen. Oscar Wilde stuff's everywhere in Dublin. It's great. He has the coolest statue because it's color, it's not like it's bronze. He's wearing a bunch of different colors in it, and he's lounging, which is awesome. Not standing proud. And
he's lounging.
Yeah, Oscar Wilde. Dorian Gray is my favorite book, and he's the most quotable human ever. I mean, that guy, all of us are lying in the gutter, just some of us are looking at the stars. There's just a million only dull people are brilliant at breakfast. There's so many just, great. He's very quotable. But so his stuff everywhere was great. And then be like, hey, this is where he wrote this, and this was his pub, and you're like, this is cool.
Where he was born.
Yeah. And then in London, I didn't realize it, but we were right around the corner from where the cover, the alley where the cover of Ziggy Stardust was, that iconic Bowie image. And it was nothing makes you feel less cool than when you try and recreate being Bowie. You're like, oh my God, I'm so lame. I'm in my travel sweats and hoodie, and this is Bowie with a guitar and one of the greatest albums ever made. And but we also recommend, that's how we like to travel, is you go see these certain things, but also just wander. Just find the things, because we went and we're like, hey, we're gonna go look at the Ziggy thing. And then boom, there was the Starmen, the Bowie theme bar there, and we went there and we had a couple drinks and just some awful fish and chips. So fishy, the fishiest fish and chips.
So oily.
Just the fish. You could see the scale on the fish, and it's fine. But that's again, you stumble upon that. We found that kind of cafe in Dublin that you really liked, and it was just we weren't even really looking for this,
Yeah. Sorry, I got nothing. Zoning out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if it's time yet, but I do have a special surprise segment.
Oh, special surprise segment. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yes, please do.
Before we do some Bingo DIngo. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to Let's Ranch. A new segment where we taste ranch products.
Oh, no. This is a surprise segment. We don't know. Oh, man, I hate ranch. I can't.
Welcome back to America.
Oh, my gosh.
Full
this
plunge.
is going from Europe to, what's it called? To
this
Oklahoma.
is the United States. Oh, okay.
It was like the most re-entry into the U.S. you could ever do. It was so
Absolutely.
funny. Yeah.
But I do have a special surprise segment.
Oh, special
for
surprise
this
segment.
episode.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, please do.
Before we do some Bingo DIngo. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to Let's Ranch, a new segment where we taste ranch products.
Oh, no. This is a surprise segment. We don't know. Oh, man, I hate ranch. I can't.
Welcome back to America.
Oh, my gosh.
Full
This is.
plunge.
Okay, so we're starting a new segment here. First time we've ever done this here on the podcast. Welcome to Let's Ranch.
Let's ranch.
Where we try different ranch-flavored products that our producer Andy has brought in. For context, I hate ranch. I cannot stand it. So the idea that you're going to take ranch, and Mel loves it. Ranch lover, ranch hater. Okay, what do you got for us first, Andy?
So for today, we have Lester's Fixins Ranch Dressing Soda.
Oh, no.
Like, why?
Andy.
Oh, no.
Why do you do this to us? Oh, I could not be looking forward to this less.
I'm
not.
I'm humped. I'm pumped. That's how
Yeah.
I'm hyped and
Mel's so
pumped.
pumped she's humped. Oh my gosh, what an awful segment. Been watching too much YouTube with your kids. You know what would be good? Let's have Dustin and Melissa try some gross things. Cool glasses, though. So ranch soda. Okay.
Oh, it does not smell good.
The color it's not purely clear. It's definitely got a milky color to it.
Oh, no. This looks like, it just looks gross. This looks like the water in your retainer case. This looks so gross.
Smells, I mean,
It smells.
it smells
it smells
like
so bad.
it smells like ranch, without a doubt. And there's a variety of ranch intensity. Sometimes it's too sweet smelling.
This is just the common denominator of foods. It's not that good. It's not that bad. It's the show Friends.
McDonald's.
It's the
Show
it's
Friends.
yeah.
All right, we doing this?
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
It's sweet. It's kind of sweet. The sweetness
Really sweet.
helped.
No, it didn't. No,
Well, I like ranch.
Oh my gosh, that's so gross. How do you like that?
I don't like it. I just think that
You complimented it.
the sweetness outweighs the
Oh.
It's
the
got
creaminess.
a little
It's like
cream soda kind of vibe. Almost like there's too much vanilla.
I'm not being theatrical in this. I can't stand the taste of this. This makes me want to gag. This makes me want
Terrible
to.
taste.
This makes me want to throw up into this cup and drink the puke to wash that flavor out of my mouth. This is grosser than my own puke. I hate this so much.
To me, it tastes like a combination of Jelly Belly vanilla and popcorn jelly beans at the same time.
I
Oh.
can see that. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
Which is
I can't believe
It
you're
wasn't
analyzing
very
a
love or
flavor
hate.
profile
It
of
wasn't
this.
pleasant. I'll
no,
tell you that.
no, I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy.
Mhm.
Oh, no, I didn't enjoy 1 second of that. I dreaded this, and it was worse than I thought it was going to be.
perfect. That's great.
If I could afford a different producer, I would. How dare you? How
Well-
dare you? Is there more?
Well, in the
Oh.
spirit of attention to redemption, we will actually create perhaps maybe the very first
This-
ever ranch cocktail.
Oh, my,
Yeah.
nobody wants that. I will say the only thing that I can imagine, only way I can imagine liking this is being drunk. The only way I think that I would be like, you know what, this is pretty good, or you know what, I can handle this, is if it's my 10th, mixed with booze.
10 ranches.
Oh my gosh,
And Andy is a mixologist.
Andy, yeah.
Bit of a hobbyist and enthusiast.
I just
a
see
tiki
everything that
mixologist.
you're making, and I just wish it didn't have ranch in it.
Of course.
Yeah. It looks so good, and then you're just gonna ruin it. Oh my! Oh, it just keeps going. We have garnishes.
It's amazing.
Mel couldn't love this more.
Oh my gosh.
Mel is so excited about this.
I'm so excited.
Andy, this ranch cocktail has what in it?
Gin, lemon, velvet florinum, dry curacao.
Okay.
And ranch soda.
And ranch soda. This is confusing for me because visually my brain goes, yes, you are going to love this. This is so visually appealing. It looks like a flavor type profile that you would normally really enjoy, but I know that there's ranch in it, and it scares me. It's like it's like going into a dark room where maybe it'll be fun, but you're mostly scared. And you're like a great bartender mixologist, and this feels awful that this is the first thing you've made for us.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. We've talked it up a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is pretty
So
funny.
good.
It does,
That's
yeah.
going to be
So
the question:
good.
is could I redeem this?
Oh,
What's
So
the,
good.
all right.
okay, here we
Here
go.
we go. The first ever ranch cocktail.
All right.
What's it called? Does it have a name?
Let's ranch.
Here we go. You did it. You redeemed ranch soda.
It's so good.
If you put enough other flavors and alcohol into ranch soda, it can become tolerable.
It's amazing.
That's what you can do.
I'm so impressed, Andy.
If you put
Yeah.
a good enough supporting cast around it, it can
With
be
high quality.
with high quality ingredients and a great director. It can be okay. I'm not going to say it's so good.
Yeah.
This has
Amazing.
reached the level of tolerable.
There's also mint syrup in it as well too. So that's also. Yeah, this isn't bad. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't. You wouldn't if someone handed this to me, I'd be like, oh, this is okay, but I wouldn't. You wouldn't know it's ranch.
No.
Yeah, there's like a hint of creaminess, but that's it.
A hint of creaminess.
Yeah, like I mean, for sure. Like I tasted the mix before I added the ranch, so I kind of know what's there. It's actually a little bit more, bitter, a little more ginny. Like you get more of the herbaceousness. It does the sweetness of the ranch kind of kills the gin.
Yeah.
Like it completely takes off that nuance altogether. I mean, for sure that soda was gonna destroy the cocktail.
Yeah. This is the equivalent of someone who goes, I love coffee. And then they pour 2 inches of creamer or like vanilla
like
sweet
whatever
cream.
that pumpkin spice from the grocery store.
This is it's not even the thing anymore. This is not ranch soda anymore. This is a morning cocktail.
This is great.
This is really good. All right, cheers.
All right, we've
Cheers
just
to that.
we changed our show entirely.
We
now
were
we're a cocktail show.
Yeah, Mel's
Yeah.
in, yeah.
It's our new.
We were supposed
new
to not
theme.
be drinking until this weekend, but
That's ranch. Yep.
this is called the Midwest Mocktail. It's not a mocktail, but we're going to call it the Midwest Mocktail
Because of the ranch.
because of the ranch. Yeah. No,
The ranch-
ready? Hold on, ready? I
The
got
ranch cancels out
You
the
ready?
alcohol.
it. All right, this I'm going to take. Ready? Yeah. This is the Midwest goodbye. Is what it is. This is a
Nice.
Midwest goodbye, and I like it a lot.
Wow.
Mm.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Andy.
Let's rant.
All right, we got to do a Bingo DIngo review real quick so
Okay.
we can keep the show under now. Bingo DIngo review of what's the movie
Super
called?
Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers, starring every actor in Hollywood. 5 out of 5 for me. This movie reminded me of Lego Batman, and that this is which is my second favorite Batman movie. No, third favorite Batman movie ever. It goes Dark Knight, Batman 89, Lego Batman. Because what Lego Batman was a love letter to Batman fans. Thank you for being a fan all these years. We appreciate you. Here's a good enough movie and a million little Easter eggs. This is what you've been waiting for. Thank you so much. It's self-aware. It's silly. It has all these nods to a million different versions of its franchise. It was great, and that's exactly what this was. Thank you for being a Mario fan. Thank you for playing this game. Thank you for knowing, and it's great. And of course, they put so-and-so actors in it to make it have mass appeal. But it was so. I found myself just smiling the whole movie. I smiled the whole movie, and the things that I was worried about, like, is Seth Rogen Donkey Kong going to work? kind of worked somehow. I didn't think that it was going to work. 5 out of 5, Bingo DIngo. We also had seen it right after doing Super Mario World at Universal Studios, and we saw it at the Chinese Theater in LA. So it was a very kind of experiential thing for us. Yeah. But it's great. Mel, then Andy? I'm going to get back to my Midwest goodbye here.
I would say 5 out of 5 too. It was just really fun. Kind of a generational bridge.
The 9-year-old girl and the 15-year-old boy loved it equally.
And
that's
the
not easy.
38-year-old man.
And 38.
No, it was a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm jet lagged. I don't have
You're jet lagged and day drinking.
That's right. Yeah.
Andy, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if you equally hate both sides of the aisle, go see Super Mario Brothers.
Politically?
Politically. If you want to expose your children to romantic patriarchal rage, go see Super Mario Brothers.
That's funny.
If you are looking for affirming dad issues, go see Super Mario Brothers. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
It was so. I'm obviously being tongue in cheek about this.
I know. I hear everything you're saying.
And I'm sitting with my 3-year-old next to me, and then my 5-year-old and 8-year-old and 9-year-old, and it was the funniest part was, not the funniest part, but the thing that we're just like, that I was connecting both. I'm like, man, Bowser's a rapey guy.
Oh, interesting.
So it just kind of, and the level of intensity of his rage. Yeah. And that's like, that was the part for me. I'd just be like, this is so intense.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, and the entire like motif of like, she will marry me or I will kill everything.
Yeah.
Like that entire turn of internal male violence,
Oh, man.
And if you like the combination of that and Judas Priest, then go see Super Mario Brothers.
I got none of that.
I think I might have been. Jack Black is so silly.
I actually thought he was like I don't want to say sympathetic in any way, but I thought his love for Peach was endearing at times. And so I think you and I, this is a good example of how two people can totally misread, or read something differently. I thought he wasn't like he was obviously clearly the antagonist and delusional and stuff, but I found that they tried to make him kind of sweet at times in his love for Peach.
With his singing and stuff.
But I mean, he would also then burn down a kingdom with fiery rage.
Exactly. Yeah. And even, it was Jack Black.
Kind of
it was Jack Black,
yeah. I think I was living in the contrast of just like in a world that is, we're so woke to male to female exchange. And it was funny too.
Well, it was just like burning planets and kingdoms.
If you want to expose your child to demonic rage and fan the Christian bullhorn, then go see Super Mario Brothers.
So it works for all sides.
Yeah.
However you want to.
Yeah. My review, 5 out of 5.
5 out of, it's still And because I had none of that same experience, and I don't even fully get your take. But we both still liked it, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
I liked the Mario-Luigi bond, the brothers.
And
I liked
agree.
all the plumbing and the tubes, like that integration. Like I just thought it was the way they made it, and then I liked how they like spent all their money on the commercial. And, and
how his dad was disappointed in him. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that it played the 90s plumber commercial bit.
So funny.
Like
so funny.
That was kind of like like an arc of the movie was that plumbing commercial.
And they did him doing the Italian accent too much in the commercial, and then they came back. It was great. Man, you and I watched a different. What did you go see? It sounded to me like you went to like a black box theater production of Bowser and Mario.
It through a hole.
Yeah,
actually,
you watched a one-man production of Mario the Poet going. But hey, I'm all for it. Yeah.
And the cherry on top is two seats down. My homeschool parenting friend was, she was up in arms about Peach's wedding dress. She's like, man, for a girl who doesn't want to marry him.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's so funny. Wow, you guys read a lot into that. I was like, this is a cool video game movie. That's what I thought the whole time. Oh, you guys are so homeschooled. All right, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Want to give a special shout out to our As Essential as Oils patrons.
Mm-hmm.
You know about them, Melissa?
I sure do.
There are $25 a month and up patrons, our best of the best. Thank you so much. So, special shout out to Adam Bush,
Averill Griffiths,
Bonnie Galindo,
Caroline Crimmins,
Carrie Teague,
Code to Grow,
Courtney Eibling,
Damaris Diaz-Stevens,
David and Melissa Cox,
Dave Hoagland,
Farrah Journey,
Isaac Teron,
Jason White,
Jennifer Ashley Downs,
Jessica Sewell,
Jordan Cowan,
Juliana Smith,
Lori Amos,
Matt and Sam Slosdom,
Nathan and Jennifer Merritt,
Nicole Carraz,
Rachel Wilson,
Rachel Kennedy,
Robert and Nellie Capin,
Stephen Mena,
and Tiffany Payne.
Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are the best. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I love you so much. Thank you. Good night. Goodbye, everybody.